today would be a good day to start off with a favorite Joni Mitchell song. The song Circle Game. Yesterday, a child came out to wander and caught a dragonfly inside a jar. Fearful when the sky was full of thunder, and tearful at the falling of a star. Here comes the chorus. And the seasons, they go round and around, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and round and around in a circle game. Then the child moved 10 times round the seasons, skated over 10 clear frozen streams, and words like "when you're older" must appease him, and promises of someday make his dreams. Here we go. And the seasons, they go round and around, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and around and around in a circle game. 16 springs and 16 summers gone now. Oh, and cartwheels turn to car wheels through the town. And they tell him, take your time, it won't be long now, till you drag your feet to slow the circles down. And the seasons, they go round and around, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. Oh, we can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and around and around in a circle game. So the years spin by, and now the boy is 20. Though his dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, there'll be new dreams, maybe better dreams, and plenty before the last revolving year is through. And the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. We're captive on a carousel of time. We can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and around and around in a circle game. We can't return, we can't return, we can only look behind from where we came and go round and around and around in a circle game. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. So good to have you back. I'm Reverend Janet Gollery McKeithen, and I'm the minister at the church in Ocean Park. I welcome you here. You might wonder if you really are welcome because we call ourselves a church, but we are multi-religious, interfaith, so you are welcome if you're Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Wiccan, atheist, or something else altogether, or some kind of combination, or you don't like to identify. We welcome you if you're single, married, divorced, gay, transgender, very rich, or living on the edge. We welcome people who are fidgety or very focused, just woke up, or just got out of prison. We don't care if you're more religious than the Pope or if you haven't been to mosque since before the pandemic. We welcome those who are in recovery or still addicted. Soccer moms, tree huggers, latte sippers, vegetarians, vegans, junk food eaters. We welcome you if you're having problems or you're soaring on eagles. We welcome you if you like organized religion or you're repelled by it. We welcome you if you're inked, pierced, or both. We especially welcome if you're standing in the need of prayer, and I think a lot of us are this morning. We welcome you especially if you've been hurt by a religious community and are here very cautiously. We hope you find this place a place of healing. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park. This morning, some of us come with joy, some come with deep grief, some come with sickness, some come with worry. Whatever you're holding this morning, know that we are a community together and we can hold it all. We're glad you're here, however you come this morning. We want to begin by acknowledging that most of us right now are sitting on stolen land. In Santa Monica, the land was taken violently from the Chumash, the Quiche, and the Tongva peoples. We acknowledge the harms of genocide, forced assimilation, enslavement, and destruction at the hands of U.S. colonial settlerism. We also acknowledge that our communities and country were built on the backs of people who were stolen from Africa, placed into bondage, and forced into labor that has never been repaid. And we benefit from that labor. In our acknowledgement, let us commit ourselves to healing by helping to create a more just and equitable world through the struggle of changing how we do the things that we see are normal, but that are actually systemically hurting other people and ourselves. We all have biases, and it takes intentionality to build compassion for people who are truly different from our lives. We seek to work together across boundaries to tear down unjust systems and build new relationships of healing and of love. This morning you'll hear from a variety of people. If you hear something you disagree with, know that they do not speak for the church in Ocean Park in its entirety, and your voice is just as important as whoever it is that just spoke, especially if it's me. If you hear something you want to talk about later, just let us know. Thank you for being a part of this community this morning. Thank you for helping break barriers and build compassion. Thank you for being a part of trying to bend the arc a little bit more towards justice. And we center ourselves each week with a chant by Thich Nhat Hanh. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now 3 times. Take a deep breath. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. I have arrived, I am home, in the here and in the now. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park.
Thank you, Janet. Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you. I want to share a song called I Love Myself the Way I Am. And if anybody, you remember the book, The Handbook to Higher Consciousness by Ken Kai's, that community had a whole bunch of songs, and this is one of them. I don't know who wrote it. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. So behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me, until the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring. I will help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, but still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Ooh, I love myself just the way I am. Oh, just the way I am.
Sometimes our plans change. Things happen in our life that change our plans. And this happens to all of us. And I need to share something with you this morning about our community that's happened in our community. Our community this week has suffered a great loss. And we are a community that holds one another up when tragedy strikes. And this is one of those times. Many of you know who Lovemando is, and some of you may not. Some of you know him by the song Chocolate Jesus, some by his part in the duo Ketchup Soup, others from the story he has read on Christmas Eve, the last few Christmas Eves while wearing his Santa outfit. Lovemando, I have to tell you that Lovemando died suddenly this week. And our community is deeply affected. Our community is torn, the body is torn, and we need time. My message this morning was to be about how many of us are overly busy today. Some people take on too much, and others of us are self-absorbed.
Oh, I think Pastor Janet, it looks like she's not on anymore, but while we're waiting for her to come back, and while we're still taking a breath from that real devastating news about Lovemando, who so many of us appreciated in many ways, we actually had already planned. We have some some videos of him. So I guess I'll show one of those now. I think so, Louise, while Pastor Janet is coming back. Because this first one, she had planned for us to show at the end of her message today. But we'll show it right now. I have it all set up and ready to go. And this is, it's called I Met the Devil. And one thing we love about Lovemando and love about Kitchen Soup is just the energy, the wonderful energy, and the
charmed me real good. It made me do things that I never should. Oh, I met the devil. It charmed me real good. Oh, I met the devil. It charmed me real good.
Oh, I met the devil. She was so very bad. She made me want things that I never ever had. Oh, I met the devil. She was so very bad. Oh, I met the devil. She was so very bad.
Oh, I said to that devil,
What'd you say?
just you go away. I said you got to leave, but won't you stay one more day? I said to that devil, just you go away. Oh, I said to that devil, just you go away. Oh, the devil didn't go away. He stayed right by my side. He made me cheat. He made me steal. He took away my pride. The devil didn't go away. He stayed right by my side. He made me cheat, made me steal. He took away my pride.
Oh, I met the devil. She was so very bad. She made me want things that I never ever had. Oh, I met the devil. She was so very bad. Oh, I met the devil. She was so very bad.
Oh, I met the devil. It charmed me real good. It made me do things that I never should. Oh, I met the devil. It charmed me real good. Oh, I met the devil. It charmed me real damn good. And I liked it.
Yes, I'm so glad I didn't miss that. And Mrs. Hobbs is here. Diana is here. Hi. Thank you for being here. Yeah, that's when I first met Lovemando and Diana, Mrs. Hobbs, was when they were doing Ketchup Soup. That's Ketchup Soup playing right there. And best group ever. And that is one of my favorite songs. And so I'm really, really glad that we were able to show that. Of course, another one of my favorite songs is coming up after a while, but this is a chance to, this is not the memorial service for Lovemando. There will be one, but we are at the church in Ocean Park. My message this morning changed because I believe it's important to be real. You know, there's too much fakeness in our world already, and you don't come here on Sunday morning to get more of that. You come here on Sunday morning to get what's real. And that's what's really going on in our community right now, is some of us are struggling, really struggling this morning. And I am one of them. Lovemando is unique, and there's nobody, I also understand that there are people in our community who don't know Lovemando. And so part of what I want to share is that when any tragedy strikes in the community, we deal with it as a community, and we can hold it all as well. And I want to read one, we read different sacred texts depending on the day and depending on who's speaking. And this morning I want to read one which is from a Christian sacred text, the Bible, Mark 4:35, when Jesus stills the storm. And it says, on that day, when evening had come, Jesus said to his disciples, let's go across to the other side. And leaving the crowd behind, the disciples took Jesus with them in the boat, just as he was. Other boats were with him. A great storm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that the boat was already being swamped. But he was just sitting in the back asleep, laying in the back asleep on a cushion, Jesus was. And they woke him up and they said, teacher, don't you even care that we're about to die, that we're about to perish? He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, peace, be still. The wind died down and it was completely calm. There are times in our lives when we are in the midst of a storm. What do? We may have the same question that the disciples asked. Hey, God, hey, universe, don't you care? Don't you care that I'm perishing? Don't you care that my heart is breaking? Don't you care that dreams are now crushed? Don't you care what's happening to me? I'm never going to be the same again? Don't you care that I don't even know what to do now? There are times in our lives when we cry out, is anybody even there listening? And there are times when after crying out, sometimes we experience a calmness. But then there are many, many other times, most of the time, sometimes for some folks, when we cry our heart out and nothing happens. No calmness. Nobody. There isn't any sense of any calm at all. Sometimes life just doesn't make any sense. It's just not fair. It isn't just, and it's completely cruel. This isn't a life where those who work the hardest, where those who fight for justice, where those who bring positivity. This isn't a life where the ones who are the sweetest, the most compassionate, those who are most awesome in any way. It isn't a life where those people are free from struggle and despair. This is sometimes a life that makes no sense whatsoever. Sometimes we're crying out and nothing seems to change because we are so distraught. There are other times when the people who we think should help us, they go in the back of the boat, they just fall asleep in the midst of our storm. How can they do that at a time like this? That's exactly what Jesus did. He took a nap. After a full day of being on all the time, he needed to take care of himself. He was drained. He needed a break. Sometimes we don't think about him needing a break. Sometimes we don't think about ourselves needing a break. He needed to get away by himself and go to sleep. But his disciples were eager to talk to him. They couldn't wait. This was like their chance. He'd been putting out for all these other people all this time, and then the little intimate group gets together and they can't wait to talk to him. Some of them want to make plans for the next day. Judas, the treasurer, I'm sure, was trying to figure out how to make more money. They all got to talk to him. And what does he do? He goes in the back of the boat and falls asleep. His close friends finally had intimate time, and he goes to sleep. Disappointing, I'm sure. And then they wouldn't leave him asleep. They woke him up and said, "Don't you care about us? Geez, give the guy a break. He needs a nap." How many of you needed a nap? How many of you don't take a nap when you need a nap? They need time away and instead are pressured to stay engaged, but we are not at our best. Why? Why do we do that to ourselves sometimes? Because there's so much to do. We don't want to disappoint our friends. For other friends who are working hard with us, they keep on working. Why would we stop and take a nap? You know why Jesus could calm the storm? Because he took care of himself. Healers, caregivers need to be careful to care for themselves. When you're in the midst of a storm, you need to take care of yourself. Stepping away looks a little bit different for people at different times in their lives. For you, it might be getting away from everyone and going to take a nap. It might be going on a hike, meditating or praying. It could be watching children who are continually surprised by life. Maybe reading a pleasure book or writing in a journal. It might be singing or talking to a friend. During the pandemic, many of us had to find new ways to replenish ourselves when other ways were no longer available. There are seasons in our lives when our new circumstances won't allow us to do what has brought joy to us in the past. We just can't do it. We have to do something else. And we need to creatively seek out new ways to keep ourselves replenished and find joy in new ways. We sometimes forget how important it is that even in new confining circumstances, whatever they may be, it's important to find new ways to care for ourselves that may not look like old ways at all. We need to sort of remake ourselves all the time, and it isn't easy. I don't know when I bought my last pair of shoes, but as my husband recovered from open heart surgery twice, we did do a lot of walking. He actually bought 2 pairs of shoes during that time. We were walking so much. He bought 2 pairs, but I didn't buy any, not me. Shoes are expensive. And I could make do. Now my shoes are coming apart. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the front, the top, and the bottom. And they flop when I walk, and they're a little bit dangerous. My daughter recently told me that I am worth getting a new pair of good shoes. She told me I am worth it. I can take care of my feet. I am worth it. You are worth it. Sometimes we get caught up and we forget about our own worth. No matter your circumstances, you are still important. We forget about that sometimes. You are worth having some joy in your life for its own sake. It will also seep out of you and go into people around you that you meet and you're in contact with. You'll spread it, but that's not why it's important. It's important because you are worth it. You having joy in your life is important because you are important. In some seasons of our lives, we may not know where to find that joy. Maybe reading a phony book, calling a friend on the phone. What if you ate something you really wanted to eat? Listening to music you really love. Find whatever you can to step away just for a bit and find new ways to experience joy. Sometimes we put it off too long and we become listless and bitter. Even in the worst times, there are some internal choices that we can make that have a profound difference in our lives. You might focus on connecting with people who bring you joy. Lovemando is one of those people for me. Just seeing him walk through the door brought me joy. Is there someone who does that for you? And now you know that you do that for other people. You bring your beautiful spirit with you wherever you go. You have enormous creative power. You have the power to shape your life and influence the lives of others through your words, your thoughts, your beliefs, and your choices. And you have been influencing people throughout your life, whether you know it or not. The question is not, do you have such creative strength? Because you do. The question is, how will you use that creative force that's within you day by day, moment by moment? And it isn't not about doing more. If there is anyone who should have been doing more, instead of sleeping, it would have been Jesus, right? He only had a limited time. He was the only one that could do certain things that he did. He should have been doing it. He was wasting his time, wasn't he? Or was he? When you care for yourself, you can embrace your divine creative power and your joy. But when you allow yourself to be so worn down, even when you're doing good deeds, it's even more difficult to face any storms that will come. And they will come. When we take care of ourselves, the pain and struggle is still there, but we are in a better place as we go through it. We'll not always be able to calm the storms in our lives, but we may be able to better weather them than we would be if we run out of reserves. If you are right now in a situation where there's not much room for choices about what you might do, it might help to breathe deeply. First, know that this community loves you and that we hold you and we see you. And just know that there are little things you can do that mean a lot, that help a lot. Breathing deeply is one. Moving your body, stretching your body is another. Maybe you can have a place where paper and colored pencils are nearby for dawdling or doodling. Or find some enjoyable music, dance, like no one's watching because nobody is. There are times when it takes real intentionality to fall asleep at the back of the boat, but that's when we need it the most. Sometimes we don't acknowledge that what is happening or what has happened to us is traumatic. The death of a friend can be traumatic. Be intentional about reaching out for comfort. Be intentional about finding space to process and to grieve. And then be intentional about leaving openings for healing and for joy. If your life is upended and you are now having to navigate a new place or a new situation that you don't want to be in, at some point in the future, you may find rest and joy in places that you've never been before. It's about staying open and creating openings where you can, so that you don't miss any new healing and new joy that is available now in this new place, in this place that you never wanted to be. One of the places where I find joy is in music, and that's why we had you. I met the devil a while back when my internet gave out. That's why we played that song, and we'll play others going forward. Where do you find joy? Go to that place. Go to that place often. You're worth it.
Thank you so much, Janet. I lift us all up with this really sad news, and I want to sing a song, and I dedicate this to all of us right now, hearing this sad news about Lovemando, and especially to Stacy and to Mrs. Hobbs. This song is for you this morning and all of us. For Lovemando. I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you. I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you, and let my love watch over you. I behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let behold you, beautiful one. I behold you, child of the earth and sun. Let my love wash over you. Let my love watch over you.
Community sharing is a time where you can say something or ask a question. Daria?
Thank you, Janet, for your wonderful sermon. I was not aware of the news until just this morning. And I know we're gonna have time to talk about Lovemando later, so I'll wait for that. But wow, I'm just really surprised and very sad along with all of you. But a beautiful sermon. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it is definitely okay to share whatever you want. Okay, we'll go to Fred and then Craig. Fred?
When we heard the news on Thursday, and it was quite a shock to the building committee because he worked so hard with us on putting together a new sound system for the church. And every Sunday we ever needed him, whether he was coming to church or not, he would drop whatever he did and come and help out with the sound or whatever we needed him for. And I went out to lunch with him. He and I both love ribs, and we had a great lunch together. And we were planning a new one for the new rib restaurant on Santa Monica Boulevard. And then he hurt his foot, and we never got to go have lunch again together. And it was a shock on Thursday when we found out. When I heard Janet cry out when she was on the phone with Stacy, I tried not to think the worst. I thought maybe he went into the hospital, maybe something worse is with his foot. I kept hoping for the best. The man would do anything for this church, and he stood up for just generosity and kindness. He was a great person to know. He was a wonderful person. And my heart goes out to Stacy for everything she's done for the community, and I know she's had much love from Lovemando.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fred. Craig?
Yeah, too. I want to also weigh in on my feelings for this beautiful brother. Strongly spiritual in a sense. He also, by his own admission, said he was in recovery. And so I'm reminded of how beautiful people are drawn into such poisonous types of substances and attitudes. But I'm proud to have known him because I knew he fought and conquered much of that within that spirituality. Another thing, Janet, that you said in reference to more or less retelling the whole question of Jesus was, so many of us want to think he's God, but I think in your sermon, you more or less referred to him as his humanistic quality. He was a man. And as most men do, we need certain things. And I think that's one of the crucial things that I think is clear, within our faith, to recognize, that idea of God versus man. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Craig. Jean?
Last
Jean Gasca?
Yes, hi. Last week, I heard about two friends who were very ill or injured. And then a friend of mine went into the hospital and had knee surgery and then a massive heart attack. It was very scary. And right the next, I was fine, visiting him and bringing things for him and supporting him. And then the next day, my whole body hurt. Every joint hurt. I ached all over. And it reminded me that when we experience tragedies, like the loss of Lovemando, that our bodies react as well as our minds and our emotions. So I had to lie down most of the next day, and I wanted to remind everybody that's just part of grieving, is that your body also grieves. I will miss him so.
Thank you.
One time I had to organize and orchestrate a memorial gathering for somebody. And with limited resources, what do I do? Help. And it was suggested that I call Lovemando and ask for help with setting up like the sound system and all. He said, oh, sure. And he had a portable speaker and microphone and all that we used there. And he was surprised when I offered him money for the work that he did. Thank goodness he accepted it. But he was just so willing to be there and hang out in this senior citizen facility and just set things up and then sit through the gathering. And then another time, in my memory, sorry, I'm shaky, was Christmas one time at church. And Lovemando was our music person Christmas morning, and it was wonderful. And in strolled a homeless guy who just walked right in and sat down at the piano and started playing, and Lovemando played his guitar right with him, and just so smoothly. It was just
I remember that.
a beautiful memory. Yeah. And Stacy, of course, more than words for, heart goes out to you. Take care of yourself.
So it's part of my daily life as an organizer of healers to remind people of your message, Janet, this morning. And I think it's so appropriate as we remember this loving, beloved member of our community, that we need to stop and really dig deeply into that caring part of our soul and give ourselves that space and that love that is so needed when we go through tragedy. And I ask that everyone does what many of my healers remind people to do at some point of the day today. Wrap your arms around yourself and squeeze tightly, giving yourself all the love and nourishment you need, as Jean has identified this being a moment of grief.
Yes, very sad news. The last 2 weeks was kind of rough for me because working at hospital, you meet sick people every day, whole day, people dying. One nurse, one of the pediatric nurses died suddenly. And I'm the last 2 weeks I've been working for two chaplains because one chaplain is on vacation and one who uses a wheelchair fractured his hand. So neither of them were there. So I was working for two chaplains actually. So staff nurse died, then another person who did my pay sheets and so on, her brother died violently by accident. And so in a sense, it's been a couple of weeks, including today, that has been very taxing and very traumatic. But what I did yesterday was that I took a laxative. I didn't eat anything. And this morning I felt much better because I slept all day yesterday. And I feel much better today. But the last time I met Lovemando was when we were having one of our meetings in respect to the church while Janet was away, and he came and attended the meeting. And whenever Lovemando sees me, he usually puts his hand around me and gives me a hug. He always did that. I don't know why. He just put his hand around, one of his hands around me and gives me a hug whenever he sees me. And I think it's the only male person who has been giving me hugs. So now, who is going to hug me now? So, you know, that is what I remember of him, his caring, compassionate mannerism. I should have been hugging him, you know, but he did it for me. So I want, that is the picture I was looking for during the service. I was looking for that during this very service here. And I'm so glad you showed it here now. So his hand is not hugging me now, but he did it already. And then we just stood together there. So, you know, my condolences to all those who were close and near to him. And may God grant him continued peace and joy. And may he continue to sing Chocolate Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure he is. Thank you.
Can I say something, Janet? It's Fran.
Y-
I know you
Oh, yeah,
probably
hi,
have
Fran.
a queue. You have a queue, but
It's okay. Go
looking
ahead.
for that photo because I took that photo and I was looking for it and I looked up listening to Joseph speak and it was on there. So it's a fabulous photo and Mondo loved that photo. He used it and he asked me for it. And it's interesting that I got a photo with him and Reverend Joseph after Reverend Joseph was saying their connection. So there was something there and I'm really shocked. And it just tells you how life is so fragile and everybody has their down moments. And, you know, I guess not everybody can be there for somebody all of the time, but I think maybe we should try going forward for sure, and a lot of kindness. So I loved Mondo, and I'm very sad. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Fran, and thank you for that beautiful picture. Chuck?
Yes,
And then
I am feeling grief. I have a way of making people heroes and seeing them as bigger than life, and Lovemando was that. It's those things that can't be described. It's like you said, when he walked in the room, I felt that. I felt the joy of just knowing that he existed, that he was there and with me to appreciate. It's hard to keep my eyes off him. And we talked about my weakness for alcohol and his being dry for years. And it wasn't what he said, it was that he was able to sort of, not intentional probably, but there was something essential about him that I connected with, and I love him. and I don't want to think of him as not being available to me in the future, but anyway, that's all.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Bonnie, you want to speak? Your hand is up. Oh, maybe it's still up from before. Okay. Hurley Jim?
Yeah, really hard for me to put words together here. Lovemando and I loved each other very much. We didn't necessarily see each other that often, but whenever we did, we would hug. I'm sure he hugged a lot of people. Well, I do too, but so there are plenty of hugs for you, Reverend Joseph. Don't worry about that. Plenty of hugs. But yeah, we just, we'd see each other, we'd hug and just hold each other for a while and say, I love you, and Lovemando, I mean, shorten his name to Love, and he was Love. I just think right now about that experience I had of a loving, healing presence that just filled the universe, and each one of us. I mean, that to me, that loving presence is always there. I sometimes forget, but it's always there. That presence, that. And that's remarkable. That how, I mean, that shows our importance, because this presence, this loving, healing presence, fills and to me created this whole universe. This whole existence is within us. We are a part of it. We're not separate. We're somehow miraculously and magically part of that vastness, that vast love and healing.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Hurley Jim. And Diana, Mrs. Hobbs, Diana, thank you for being here. And thank you for helping to introduce me to Love. You're on mute. You're muted. Go ahead, Diana. Oh, you can't unmute? Oh. Let me see. Can we help her unmute somehow? Who knows how to do it on your phone? You can tell her.
I don't know, but it looks like someone's trying to
Can
help
you,
her.
*6.
Oh, *6. Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she goes.
There, thank you. I haven't done a Zoom on my phone before, so.
That's okay.
I just wanted to say, that I'm grateful to be here today with all of you. And I just remember when Lovemando and I were first playing, and we were just looking around for places to play. And we heard about this club called The Sanctuary. That was an evening event with music, and some people were curating that. And we played at that. And then we started talking with you, Janet. And then you invited us to come play at some of the morning services. And I always loved how you, I always thought it was so funny how you loved I Met the Devil.
It's a great song.
And
one of my favorites.
It always just tickled me, so. But I'm so, I'm happy that, that we got to meet this community, and that Lovemando, especially was able to really, find a home with you, with this community. And so, yeah, that's all for now. But thank you.
Yeah, well, love you, and then I'm really grateful for you to bring in. You both came together. It was a team, and that's why we know love, because we know you, and you've been with us too on other occasions. So I appreciate you a lot. Glad you're here too.
Yeah,
Louise?
Appreciate you too.
Yeah, I'm loving everybody's shares and just feeling everybody's grief and love. And I kind of adored Lovemando. Every time I saw him, something in me leapt up in gladness to see him. And I remember there was one event or something that I was trying to manage the music and ask him to help, and I was nervous. And he was so patient and loving, and I thought, oh my God, he's going to get mad at me or irritated at me, and he didn't. He just embodied love. I mean, he even changed his name to Love, and such a beautiful man. And he just stood for generosity and love all the time, and he just always spoke of that. And I mean, he didn't have to speak of it; he just embodied it. And also, I wanted to thank you, Janet, for the beautiful sermon today, because it really spoke to me. I feel like I have all of a sudden, I have some new medical conditions, and I need a lot of self-care, and nothing life-threatening, but added up, there's too many. So,
yep.
But anyway, this morning's about Lovemando, really, and I just lift up Stacy. You're such a beautiful woman. And Mrs. Hobbs, I lift you up as well. Singing together with somebody creates such a deep connection. So I lift you both up, and all of you here.
Thank you. I'll just say one more thing. We were on a trip, a 2.5-hour drive to see some lady that we thought we were always thinking creative ideas with Lovemando. And so, like, we're on the way, we're going forever, it's going to take all day long. We go there, we have this meeting. She's a crab. She was crabby, and she was mostly crabby to Lovemando. And he wasn't crabby back, and I was trying not to be crabby back. but on the way back, he's like, she's wonderful. She did, I learned this and I learned that from her, and I learned this. It was amazing. And we took our whole day driving there to meet this lady, and then she was crabby. Anyhow, he was, I had we had some kind of a spiritual connection. That's all I can say about that. So, and he was just, that's kind of that's all I'm going to say right now. So I appreciate everybody.
Janet,
sharing.
I see Fred is urged to
Fred,
talk.
go ahead.
It just made me think that, after he injured his foot, he made it down to the church for a building meeting. He hobbled in, and everyone could see he was in some pain, and he managed to come down, and he wanted to meet the man who was possibly going to put in do work on our sound system. And that was the last time we all saw him. The next meeting we had, he was on a speakerphone. He couldn't make it. His foot was still swollen, and he barely could walk, he said. And just wanted to let everyone know he was working for the church the day before he died. He was on a 2-hour call with the sound guy, with Catherine King. He put all this love into our church, and it really touches me deeply.
Yeah. Thank you, Fred.
Okay. I think Stacy would like to speak.
Definitely. Stacy?
Hi.
Hi.
I love you all. I don't have words right now, but I know he loved all of you so much. This was his home. You guys are home to him. And he would do anything for any of you, as you know. Because this community that accepted him exactly as he is, and for all his uniqueness, and with no judgment and anything like that. This was a very, very sacred, special place for him, and I know he had bonds with so many of you. And he would do anything for you guys, so as you know. And I know it's super important for him to be celebrated with all of you, and that Janet will be speaking on the behalf of the church at Ocean Park. And we haven't made arrangements yet of dates or anything like that yet. That's probably very soon, today, tomorrow, I don't know. But just know that, this was he just loved every one of you. And I do too. And thank you. Thank you. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go because I have to pick someone up at the airport right now. And my best friend, and I want to pick her up. And Janet, if you could send me the recording, that would be amazing.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay. And I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Love you.
Okay.
Drive safe.
We love you, Stacy.
Thank you. Hi, Chuck. Hi, and everyone. Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna leave now. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so, so much, Stacy, and thank you so much to everyone. And I think it'd be a good time to invite people to do what Trudy invited us to do. So take your hands, please, and put your arms around yourself and just give yourself a good hug. Give yourself support. Give yourself care and love. And don't forget to do this some more times through today and all the coming days, just to do this. And thanks so much, Trudy, for inviting us to do this. And keep breathing. Just take a good breath. Well, I'm always so inspired, and here's the song that came to mind. Reminds me of Lovemando, reminds me of what you were talking about today, Reverend Janet. And I think I got something for yes. I got shoes, you got shoes, all of God's children got shoes. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my shoes, I'm gonna walk all over God's heaven. Heaven, heaven, everybody talking about heaven, ain't a going there. Heaven, heaven, I'm gonna walk all over God's heaven. Now, Reverend Janet, when you get those new shoes, we definitely want to see them, okay? All right. I got a robe, you got a robe, all of God's children got a robe. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my robe, I'm gonna walk all over God's heaven. Heaven, heaven, everybody talking about heaven, ain't going there. Heaven, heaven. I'm gonna walk all over God's heaven. All right, this one in particular is for Lovemando. Is gonna sing all over God's heaven because we know the singing is continuing. I got a song, you got a song, all of God's children got a song. When I get to heaven, gonna sing on my song. I'm gonna sing all over God's heaven. Heaven, heaven. Everybody talking about heaven, ain't going to heaven. Heaven, I'm gonna sing all over, gonna shout all over, we're gonna walk all over, gonna sing all over, gonna sing all over God's heaven.
Yay. Thank you, Dr. Kim. I'm so glad you're back today. You're such a beautiful person to be here and supportive, and thank you so much. I really rely on you. Now we're going to have a ritual song of remembrance played by Jean Gasca, and then we're going to show another video of Lovemando when he sang at Communitas this year. Jean Gasca will play that remembrance ritual. Thank you, Jeannie.
I'm going to play it once on the piano for you to remember the song. The words are in the chat. We sing, "These do I remember well." We sing that 4 times and then through all the years. We'll sing the song twice because it's so short and you can get the feeling for it once and then sing through it the second time. These do I remember well. 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 Through all the years. These do I remember well. 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 Through all the
So we're remembering Lovemando, and we're also remembering, Bonnie wants to remember Marlene Meissner.
Well, I don't go to church on Sunday. Don't get on my knees to pray. Don't mess around with books of the Bible. I got my own special way. Yeah, I know Jesus loved me. Maybe just a little bit more. Get on my knees every Sunday at the elderly's candy store. Yeah, it's got to be a chocolate Jesus. Make me feel so good inside. Yeah, it's got to be a chocolate Jesus if you want to keep me satisfied. Well, I don't want no apples there, but don't want no almond joy. You see, there's just one thing better, suitable for this boy. Well, it's the only thing that can pick me up better than a cup of gold. You see, only a chocolate Jesus can satisfy my soul. When the weather gets rough and it's whiskey in the shade, it's best to keep your Savior wrapped in cellophane. It flows like a big muddy, but that's okay. Pour him over ice cream for a night. Oh, yeah, it's got to be a chocolate Jesus. Good enough for me. Yeah, it's just got to be a chocolate Jesus. Good enough for me. Yeah, it's just got to be a chocolate Jesus. Make me feel good inside. Yeah, it's just got to be a chocolate Jesus. If you want to keep me, yeah. If you want to keep me, yeah. If you want to keep me satisfied, yeah. Oh, get down on my knees, chocolate Jesus. Get down on my knees, chocolate Jesus. Get down on my knees, chocolate Jesus.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. Jean, I know we had at least one birthday. Any other birthdays?
Bob Gord's birthday, but I didn't see any others. Wave your hand if you have another birthday to celebrate.
Anniversary or...
All right, I will lead us off. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Thank you. It's number 76.
Right, congratulations. Well, it's been a rich and sad morning as well. Little song here to close us off. Round and round we go, we hold each other's hands and weave our lives in a circle. The day is done, the dance goes on. Round and round we go, we hold each other's hands and weave our lives in a circle. The day is done, but the dance goes on. Round and round we go, we hold each other's hands and weave our lives in a circle. The day is done, but the dance goes on. One more time. Round and round we go, we hold each other's hands and weave our lives in a circle. The day is done, but the dance goes on. Day is done, but the dance goes on. The day is done, but the dance goes on.
And soon we will do that in a real circle and dance along in the circle in the sanctuary pretty soon. So I want to close with a poem that I saw. I shall become part of the ever-living, ever-dying cycle of nature. I shall not die, for though my thoughts disperse and my motions wither, I shall live on in word and enterprise. I shall not die, for as my ancestors live on in me, so shall I live on in life and randomly reemerge. And if in God's mercy my spirit is given new life, then only the worn cage of my living shall be stripped from me, and I shall never die. And from Anna Bladel, watch flowers bloom, feel the slow pace of growth, mind the difference one day can make. And now unmute yourself, and we will hold each other's hands and a big circle. And we will say together, carry on in chaotic fashion. So unmute yourself. We know that means we'll be chaotic. That's fine. And we say together, 1, 2, 3. Carry on.
Carry on, family.
We did.